Soulless, that's the word I've seen pop up repeatedly when describing this game, and many other negative words. But there's something you need to remember, something I try to remember. Whether on YouTube, Reddit, V, many of the people seething about this game and saying it's bad tend to have one thing in common: they don't play video games. And many of them tried to cancel this game. So, how exactly did that go? Unlucky.
You don't seem very likable.
It's really difficult to put things into words sometimes, but I'm a video essay wanker, so I'll give it my best shot. There are only about 5 games I've played in my life that made me immediately think, yeah, this is one of the best games I've ever played. Deedly doodly, and it's a rare thing, and it should be. Sure, there are improvements that need to be made for the sequel, which has been confirmed, and apparently won't be published by PlayStation, so more people can play it and it probably won't be censored. But between the music, which sounds like it's on another plane of existence, and the world, which feels like it's on another plane of existence, alongside the characters who are so likable it hurts to leave them, and all of the contingencies surrounding these wonderful things, Stellar Blade is among the most wonderful experiences I've had with a game, ever. There's nothing else like it. In a gaming landscape wherein things have become insultingly safe and institutionally sanitized, or for some reason made really ugly, we needed someone to step up and say,
take a fucking chance, bunch of goddamn pussies.
And somewhere far across the sea, unless you literally live there, in a mythical place called South Korea, a crack team of nerds answered the call. Well, Stellar Blade is just Kuma trash apparently. No, I didn't play the game, I formed my opinion on social media, and when I grow up I want to be a localizer, so I can put boring politics into my games. That's right, they're my games now. See, I heard something from someone else who also doesn't play games, and the game has no soul at all. Also, I am an NPC for whom critical thinking is a yearly event like Christmas or washing my arsehole. Isn't Dustborn the best game ever?
Let's go! Whoa, buddy! You slammed that, yo. This.
Retard alert!
Retard
alert! Retard alert! Retard alert!
Whoa! Oh my!
They're wrong, and while I'm the first to admit that subjectivity is king within the autistic event horizon that we call online video game discourse, this game helped me feel the joy of gaming once again, and actually enjoy a modern game. Certainly, within the sea of generic garbage, it has a personality and its own unique identity, so much so that it feels like a PS2 game at times, and it feels like it wants me to enjoy myself when I play it. There's a lot of love and passion in this game, you can feel it, and it was a simple enough endeavour that captured a formula. Many modern game devs can't manage it, but here it is. They designed a game to make you feel good instead of shouting at you and telling you that you're a bad person for being a gamer. That's all. A game for gamers, that's it. So of course, the miserable Western drones would hate it, at least the ones that live on social media. It doesn't care about their identity politics, and it's shamelessly sexual, so yeah, it has Kuma stuff. Won't deny it, nor do I care. Because of this though, it became an autistic war online, and in a funny twist, only served to give the game more publicity and popularity, which is how it appeared on my radar to begin with. So I checked out the soundtrack, I loved it, and then I bought the game. So thanks to the haters for putting it on my radar. I like South Korea. As for this shit, people take it too serious. Even I, the essay wanker, understand this. People overthink things. Take from the guy who overthinks about everything except video games. So, for some it's combat, for some it's story, soundtrack, narrative, the world itself, perhaps even a complex interconnected nexus of all of these wanky elements combined, or maybe it's just Here's the thing, it really took me by surprise how wonderful this game is. It's got soul, lots of it, and it's not some cold, mechanically constructed cash grab. It's actually full of substance. The soundtrack's great, the setting is densely atmospheric, it blends multiple styles from the archaic and cerebral stuff to this futuristic wankiness, and spacey bullshit too. And the characters, while fairly basic, are incredibly likable, and they fill the game with warmth. Even Raven. Especially Raven. Oh no! You can harm him. It It's okay for a game to just be good and fun and wholesome and exciting when it matters. It's like a PS2 game in that regard. Stellar Blade does all of this good stuff, and in a weird twist of fate, it therefore feels like an anachronism. You just don't see things like this given a budget that's commensurate with the quality that we end up getting most of the time. It's a unique case. Typically, you'd see these kinds of risky concepts in games with virtually no budget that sell about 50,000 copies in Japan and get a shitty localization in the West that only Reddit likes, and about 2 years later than you'd actually like it to come out. The best games embody all elements of what makes a game innately good to the person, which is subjective and really just means whatever resonated with you personally. So when Stellar Blade's marketing orbited the arse-shaped sun of sex appeal, I remember thinking, well, that's just a reaction to the current climate. Most likely, these guys made the Goddess of Victory games, and it still had to be judged with all of those other elements in mind, like any other game. So calling it the Kuma game is disingenuous and only done to render all discussion inert, because idiots don't like discussing things, they just like pretending that they can. But then, video game discussion online is a shit show already, so I'm not surprised in the least. Much like Nia, people would assume that's why you brought it, but I think the game is done a disservice. But to be fair, Shift Up did make that decision themselves. They decided to go that route. And I guess it paid off in the end. I had to know, is this game good enough to extricate itself from that Kuma bait tag, or was it just soulless slop? Well, obviously not. You've seen the title and the thumbnail. It wasn't. So far from it, in fact, and I once again proved myself right that people suck, and the opinions of others are something that I take less seriously every single day. Stellar Blade is an example of how the more you try to talk bad about something in bad faith, the brighter a spotlight you shine on its good qualities and the more successful it stands to become as a result. Everyone angry about this game's existence did a better job at marketing it than Shift Up ever could have dreamed of, but maybe that was part of their plan. If so, very clever. But even then, it's not just that, and not every gamer has a semi for 90% of their gaming sessions. Something I hope they don't. That sounds very painful. Maybe some do. Kind of impressive, to be honest, to hold a boner for that long. But it's also cozy, it has soul, it's wholesome, and it's got a spectacular world, complete one of the best soundtracks in gaming. Take off the serious hat, enjoy yourself, and let's take Bowser's Evil Test. It's just a game, but it's a really good one. What a surprisingly in-depth options menu. I feel like I've gone to a restaurant with a bunch of food I've never heard of, and I'm like, fish and chips, please. But with salt and vinegar so I can feel exotic. In the distant future, humans have been driven out of Earth and up to the moon by creepy alien wankers that will be stylishly slaughtering. And the parallels to Nier Automata are very funny, they only get bigger and bigger. He was clearly inspired by it. Thankfully it's not just a rip-off. There's a fine line between derivative and inspired, and I think it's on the right side. It's also a rather short game compared to the ones I usually play. We're Eve, a super soldier person designed with efficiency in mind. A fair few times I've heard it thrown around, that the game or story isn't long enough, as though value and quality are somehow correlated to quantity. I thought we were past that, but then you play a really long JRPG that takes about 60 to 80 hours to beat, and it's full of padding and filler, and that's probably the only thing keeping it from being about as long as, well, Stellar Blade. So no, I don't mind. It's okay for a game to just get to the point, is what I'm saying. It's like an old PS2 game in many ways, and the length certainly helps with that vibe. Still, got around 40 hours out of it, but I'll probably do a New Game Plus. I'd rather be left wanting more. Also, the women have British accents, so I feel at home. And taking Taki's hand is a quick time event for some reason. Oh, I don't know why. Fun fact, a perfect parry charges your beta skill, which is powered by beta energy. I think they named it after the haters. So Stellar Blade is the wholesome story of Eve and Taki, who save the... Bloody hell, that's brutal. Yeah, this game's more violent than I thought it would be. Cool. Shit, this atmosphere. It's the most alive a video game's made me feel since Nier and Scarlet Nexus, Final Fantasy XIII, Skyrim. Scarlet Nia Blade. Adam is chiseled Asian Chadman, and he saved our life, so we're helping him find a haul of records while he follows us via a cute little drone with guns attached. Also, the voice acting is very nice. Playing the English localizations of Japanese games, I often find myself fatigued with the talented yet overused American voice cast. Comes to a point where they all sound the bloody same. It gets annoying. You can tell who's who, usually. So it's nice that the Koreans decided to include some British accents in there. Maybe there are JRPGs that do it too, with the Britishness, but I've yet to play one. Basically, even though these voices are very pretty and soothing, and it makes me want to listen to them talk a lot. And they do. Good. The Hall of Records is really dreamy. Look at it. A loudspeaker extols the virtues of advanced futuristic biotechnology and explains why Eve is so cool and shit. Eidos 7 was built by Mothersphere, apparently. Cool. We're not supposed to know what that means yet. We will do, eventually.
I'm on the way home, baby! My rival is fucking imminent! Let's fucking go!
What is this? It doesn't seem useful, but it looks intriguing.
Why'd you pose with it if you don't know? Should I chance it? Fuck it. I'm alright. Yeah, these boss fights aren't easy, but by now I was getting the hang of it. Also, the sound design is kino. Another thing unappreciated about this game. Listen to this. Even the items are musical.
If you're there, please help.
What the? A survivor from the airborne squad.
Were you the one who sent the rescue signal?
Huh? Yes. Yes, it was me. You're a member of the 7th Airborne Squad, right?
Yes. And you?
Right. Let me introduce myself. I'm an engineering support of the 5th Airborne Squad. Lily Artemis II. But you can just call me Lily.
Lily is our engineer now because we saved her from the rusty death capsule. We head to Zion, where not everybody is dead and extinct, like most of the rest of the world. We will help Adam save Zion because we're nice, and also we have alpha natives to kill, and now the game becomes less linear and opens up. The first few hours were basically a nice long tutorial, but they kept it interesting and fresh enough, so that even the linearity felt fun. The story being quite light is a constant throughout the game. I'm fine with this. Not every story has to be a huge focus on the next Nier Automata. This is one of the most beautiful worlds I have ever explored in a game. I am very weird and I like deserts a lot, and beaches, and for some inexplicable reason, industrial sites make me feel one with the cosmos. I'm not kidding, I don't quite understand it myself. They look desert-like, so maybe that's it. This game has them all. Expertly crafted level design, beautiful and intelligent use of colour to contrast certain things and make them pop more against others. Like the glowy luminescent pipe of fun, the hypertube. Yep, even world traversal is fun. The grungy alleyways speak to the world's loneliness, but also its humanity, I think, and the graffiti, some of which had to be censored because 12 people on social media found a personality by getting angry about it, really adds to that lawless, barren feeling that you'll encounter every few miles. This world is a nice, rewarding mixture of the archaic and rustic desert archetype, where things are barely functioning and half collapsed, having given way to entropy, and the other half of this wanky artistic equation is the futuristic sci-fi vibe, and the juxtaposition of those cold hard colours and synthetic architecture fused together with the antiquated natural world. And it doesn't clash at all, rather they complement one another. Opposites work well together when you do them right. Without your typical map, it relies on colour cues and environmental nudges, and it's subtle about it, in all ways except for that yellow paint thing, which always sucks. I hate having I was going to say intelligence, so I don't have much intelligence. Whatever intelligence I have is being insulted. But other than that, which you're going to get in every modern game, I know, it is cohesive with the world and how it establishes its own aesthetic. It's just that yellow paint thing that doesn't. I forgive it because of the little touches that all add up into a big thing holistically. Things like how I noticed that Eve runs her hands along walls when you get close enough to them and walk near them. They didn't need to do that, but they did. Somebody decided I'm going to do that because people in real life usually do stuff like that. We can tell you why, we just do. Little moments of personality. That's what this game is, touches of creativity and fun. that's separated from the mundane bullshit that surrounds it in the gaming spectrum. It's a wonderful experience, you know, in like a manly way. The camp actually is a perfect emblem of downtime in game. Sit down, rest, pick a song. There are a lot of songs. And take in the atmosphere. The importance of quiet is even more intrinsic in fast-paced action games. I think maybe you go fishing, like the world never went away. I did try to fish, I never figured it out, I gave up, but you're probably not as stupid as me. That's also why I don't have footage of fishing. I've got none, I gave up. The game's good at knowing when to slow down and allow you a moment to breathe, and it does it often. Ironically, I found that the best games for this are Scarlet Nexus, Nier Automata, and now Stellar Blade. All fast-paced action games. The open world areas are liberating in juxtaposition to the cramped linear levels. It's a nice contrast, and I think it's by design. Very clever if so, and even more clever is that these open world areas are smaller than they look. People praise games for having gigantic maps, and then I look at them and find them uninspiring at best. So a smaller area that looks larger than it actually is can be an intelligent way of making your world feel alive, devoid of the usual bombardment of things to do that can be overwhelming at best. I don't know why people don't like the desert, or somewhat empty levels and worlds. I think it's a great way to tell a story independent of the more rudimental and elementary storytelling aspects. Stories within stories, maybe is a good way to put it. The hollow nature of the place communicates just how much of this world has been wiped out, but within the settlements, the developers also managed to communicate humanity's resilience. The soundtrack is one of the greatest I've ever heard. There are about 200 different tracks, and loads of different people worked on it, yet despite the collaborative effort, it has this inescapable sense of identity. It really heightens the game and pushes it to that upper echelon. I first heard it when there was a misleading headline about Kiichi Okabe working on it, who did the Nier soundtracks, but it's actually Studio Monica, the studio Okabe founded and had collaborated with him on some Nier soundtracks, and you can hear his influence on a lot of the songs. They're dynamic too, picking up with a more intense version when combat happens. And overall, it's one of the prettiest things I've ever heard. Distorted guitars, ambient guitar, crazy electronic synthesizers that sound futuristic and spacey, and even warm vocals with an emphasis on those vocal tones. Lots of moving pieces all the time, but they're all engaged in this synthesis in that they're all saturated with atmosphere, so they remain cohesive and coherent when used alongside one another. And they fit into the world too. But like every other video, it's best to just let it play during the video so that you can hear it for yourself. And while I'm getting autistic about the sights and the sounds, even the user interface is gorgeous. It's futuristic and stylish. UIs are important. They are. It's like a romantic partner. You spend most of the time gawking at it, so you want it to look nice, don't you? In it. And they borrow a few sound effects from Nier Automata, so that's kino. Even the hacking minigame is fun. Not a big fan of puzzles. Never like them. But hacking is alright. Though it's just a really, really nice place to exist in. Zion, almost certainly a reference even if they spelled it differently. Presence chamber, stored memories, some old dude named Orkel, which makes me think of an orca. We must find the alpha core to open a way to a nest of alpha natives. Okay, I'm actually following. Basically, we need a master core, which needs 4 alpha cores. Or is it a hypercell? Shit, I'm not following. Orkel knows this because he's basically a human computer as well as a talking tree. We need to go get the thingy so Orkel can show us the location of the other thingy. For now, it's very simple. Side quests are a thing though, as are the more open desert areas. So the game's first 3 to 5 hours are not indicative of its holistic structure, but rather, like we mentioned, a long tutorial. It's a nice curveball. Kinda wish Final Fantasy XIII did it like that sometimes. Keeps things fresh and dynamic. Seeing the wasteland desert for the first time from atop a high up spot with the incredible music just made me feel like I was actually there. It gave the area this aura and gravity, both metaphorically and literally, and it's a great way to make a first impression. And any game that impresses itself upon you like this is going to leave some nice memories. This was a standout moment for me. I like the design of the desert, being the first open map. It doesn't run into many of the annoying things that open world games so often do. No locked out areas or pseudo unavailable things of high level enemies impeding you and soft locking you out of certain things. From the moment you enter the desert, you can go anywhere you want. Granted, you won't activate a camp until you activate the solar tower, but that is a one-off and you can still technically go anywhere and still activate the camps, but you can't use them. So I guess I kind of lied. Meh. Meanwhile, back in Zion, we've got lots of interesting characters. We've got Enya, Roxanne, Kaya Bean, the dancing cactus. Or is it cacti? Well, there's lots of them. Interesting world, interesting and likable characters.
This is no longer the drone you knew. It's an all-new, upgraded Drone 2.0 that can launch long-range projectiles. No, this is more than just an upgrade. It's an evolution!
Lots of subtle facial expressions. I think the character dynamics are really cool, and they add a lot more subtlety than people might realise. Apart from this one, this ain't subtle.
I'm going to borrow Adam's workshop for a bit. I want to tinker with the drone.
There's so many collectibles that it's one of the most consumer-friendly games I've ever seen in a long time. You know how you unlock all these costumes? You get Vitcoins, and you get other consumable thingies. That's it, you go around and you pick them up by playing the game. That's how you do it. Yeah, the guys who made the gacha game, one of the most predatory anti-consumer types of games you could possibly make, are also the ones that ended up making the most ethically good game in recent memory. My brain wants to explode, I don't quite know how to pass this. It's good though. Even the niche JRPGs are giving into that asset management avarice, if you know what I mean. So Stellar Blade is an anachronistic entity in many ways in this modern gaming sphere. Well, this is a sphere, more a bottomless pit, but not this game. Thing is, at a certain point, I don't really know what's base game and what isn't, as I got this game maybe 2 years after release because I was too busy doing 4-hour essays for old Final Fantasy games. This is why there's a dancing Christmas cactus collective. You can shoot them on side quests. Expectations for them in any game are cripplingly low for me, and my hopes amount to please try not to be devastatingly boring. Thanks. Funny enough, another modern game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a very enjoyable mess of a game, has my favourite side quest of all time, and it's the new bar for me when it comes to side quest quality. And measured up against that, these ones are pretty fun. Yeah, some are duds, but some are really fun too.
It is all my fault.
I guess he can't bear the guilt. Outfits. I'm not averse to sexualized stuff, and I'm not playing with a perpetual hard-on, so the outfits are just a whatever thing to me, but I am weak to one thing in games, and I don't see it enough. Costumes and customization. This game delivers. Yeah, it turns out the Chud game is actually a Chad director and a pretty female artist, and the existentially hilarious irony has manifested in the form of some of the coolest costumes you'll ever see in a game. This selection of outfits and hairstyles is 21st century kino. There are so many, I don't even care about unlocking them all. Seemingly endless colours and styles and vibes and all that good shit. Even drone skins and costumes for Lily and Adam. And the game actually makes you play it, and you have to play it well to get those thingies that I imagine most will go for. Personally, I wanted the bear costume, and I was very happy to get it. And the side quest to get it was really wholesome too, but also sad, but also wholesome. That's Stellar Blade basically. 3 things made me buy this game: the world, the music, and the bear. I wanted to have the waifu bear. Give me the bear costume. Games are meant to be fun. Don't judge me. I can hear you judging me while you're watching your phone. You're on your PC, eh? Yeah, I'm judging you back. You know why? You're watching my video and you've got this far without turning off. Also, thanks. Even better, alongside this wide array of costumes, meeting the criteria for certain outfits again in New Game Plus will very often give you a reskin, like the pink bear, but I don't have it because I haven't done New Game Plus yet. But I understand my red-blooded contemporaries of the male genre, and a fair few chicks who also like chicks, can't say I blame them, we have so much in common. Most want the sexy ones, so be prepared to catch a shitload of fish and eventually play the game otherwise. Side quests and optional extra content in games is all well and good, but you need a good incentive. Here's your incentive: stupid amounts of costumes for whatever mood you're in. I've always wanted a game with a plethora of outfits. Didn't think it'd be the Kuma game that provided. Thankfully, once again, it's more than just a Kuma game. It's a bear waifu game. But what's really cool is the techwear aesthetic. It's my favourite kind of clothing. I wear it a lot in real life myself. The whole sexy outfit thing does make a lot of people ignore it, I think, but I don't really care. So they give you a normal camera and a real-time selfie camera for you to express yourself with. Not some, look how hip and trendy we are crap like with a Kingdom Hearts free selfie thing and the hashtag door to darkness, but just a cute thing that fits with the world and the general vibe of the game. Photo mode is something literally every game could benefit from having but usually doesn't bother with, or at the very least, exists in the most elementally boring way. It's like outfits and customization in that sense, one of the best ways possible to facilitate a player's desire to express themselves in their own unique and creative way, making a playthrough more unique and memorable to them, and in a way they can share with others, especially in the age of digital sharing, oversharing in most cases, but it's so often overlooked because 99% of modern games suck, and they aren't created by people with souls, but rather activists and bureaucrats in suits. They just have this checklist mentality. So this is another avenue in which Stellar Blade adds actual soul, unlike all of that other insipid shite. Lighting, filters, angles. Take notes, lads. You are being blackpilled. Yes, this is how all of the women you've ever seen online actually do it. They're revealing their secrets. That's why a lot of women didn't like this game. No, their faces don't even look remotely similar to what you see online. You are not looking at them. You're looking at a digitized version. Angle, filters, AI now, makeup, lighting, Photoshop back in the day, and about 100 to 200 failed attempts later, and a little Photoshop after that. And you have a female selfie. Hey, I love the ladies, I'm just saying honest stuff. But Stellar Blade dispenses with this shite and makes the characters impossibly pretty by default. But we like looking at attractive people, and the miserable wankers who tried to cancel this game failed. No, this is unrealistic and it objectifies women. Wait, is that Leon from Resident Evil whatever, with a physique that could only be achieved via chicken and broccoli? Or maybe some steroids that make your dick and balls shrink? Give you heart failure in your 30s to 40s. Let's goon! And that is how Eve, Lily and Raven mogged the West.
Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist.
Stellar Blade is the tragic story of wanky alien thingies that kick the crap out of you, and I really hate them. Even the weak ones can kill you in a few moves, but this is also why I love it too. Because when I finally do beat one, I feel like a champion. I am very, very new to this kind of game. For years, I've watched people play the sword slashy souls like whatever games and thought, ah, Code Vein, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2. But I never bothered playing them because they look too hard. And apparently this one's easier, so I started with it. This is my first ever, unless I played others and forgotten. So I cannot compare it to the other games that nobody shuts up about or pretends to play and makes 4-hour essays about. One day I'll do my Dark Souls essay, it'll be 4 hours long, and I'll just talk about SpongeBob the entire time. It also means I won't be a snobby prick during this combat analysis and obsess over every little intricacy and idiosyncrasy just to sound clever. I can never fool people into thinking I'm clever. I'm spectacularly retarded. But for me, combat needs to be one thing and one thing only. Chocolatey. Now, fun. Just be fun. Many ways you can achieve this, of course. Impactfulness, gorgeous visuals, that give you after images while you're trying to sleep a few hours later. Especially the dodge animation, I love that one when she glows red. But this is good. It's a unique perspective, and it sticks with you. It looks all juicy and magical and sparkly. It means that I'm not some snobby twat who expects it to be the hardest thing ever, or some soft boy who needs his hand held every step of the way. It's a very insular and idiosyncratic way of seeing the game, in that I could judge it for myself, so whether or not it's fun, fair or impactful, lazy, lacking and inconsequential, I can tell you honestly. Well, I'll put it this way. The combat in this game makes me want to play other games like it, because it's very stupidly fun. It's fantastic and it has all of these things, apart from the lazy and the lacking part. It doesn't have them. You can switch your difficulty down to IGN mode whenever you want to, which is nice. If you get filtered and still want to beat the game, then you're in luck. Do not be afraid to drop it down to IGN mode, whether it's pride, ego or social pressure making you tough it out. Sometimes there comes a point where you just gotta let it go and drop it down. You could spend the time and you could struggle. Maybe you got other things to do. You can't spend 10 hours on a game a day. You just want to complete it before Christmas arrives in 2032. Maybe you're even stupid enough to make video essays on YouTube. Either way, time is money. Money is time. Blah blah blah. Don't feel inferior. And remember, like I always say, most people online don't play the games they talk about. They don't play the games. They just want to feel like elitists. And to preempt the guy who's typing a comment right now, saying, "Bro, the game is easy. Get good, bro. I played it on Nobody Cares." Shut up. It's fluid and fun. It's impactful. It's dynamic, and beating the shit out of things makes you feel cool. I think that's the goal of any combat system ever, really. Or certainly should be. Flashy animations with unnecessarily necessary flips, and the difficulty feels fair. You're going to get your ass kicked a lot at first, but once you've had it kicked a requisite amount of times, you'll figure out that that one perfect parry can change the tide completely, and you'll basically learn how to block and dodge. So you learn to anticipate it. Likewise, getting jumped in an alleyway once means that you'll press dodge out of instinct and habit. It rewards you for noticing these things and notices you right back. It's like that eureka moment. Skills are kino and can be as simple as a double jump, but it can also be a really fun combo that you can pull off. I did admittedly lean on the triangle, square, triangle combo a lot, but it looks really good. There's also triangle, square, square, triangle, which makes Eve do a drop kick thingy. I was really surprised with how many ways I can beat up aliens, considering how easy the combat was to get a hold of. I'm a total noob. with combat heavy games like this, and so if I can figure it out, it's fair. Even after I just barely lost the Abaddon fight in ADOS 7, I thought to myself, well, yeah, because I screwed this part up. No worries, we'll get them next time, boys. Button mash and be punished, basically. Even on story mode, it was a challenge for me. But then I'm new to these games, so I'd be interested in knowing how veterans of these kind of games felt about the difficulty. I imagine it'd just be Dark Souls players saying, easiest game ever, bro. Hey, you do you. It's so easy. Boo! But the best endorsement I can give this combat gameplay is that it makes you look really cool in simply pulling off the simple things. Every parry feels like an accomplishment, even with the smaller enemies, because the sound design is loud, especially in juxtaposition with the soundtrack and the world design. Whether it's a loud song or a quiet one, it just mixes it together really well. And the particle effects, I think that's what they're called, are juicy and pretty. It looks like a fruit smoothie. When a game makes the simple things fun, they become addictive, and an addictive game is a game that you're going to want to make memories with and then come back to. Even the aerial assaults are given this gravity with the slow motion effect and the sound effects in stereo with one another. Things are added in a natural, gradual way, so you're never overloaded with too many things at once. And you have all the time in the world to practice them with the practice arena. It incentivizes you to do so. Even normal combos can be modified past a certain point where you can hold the final button down to expand burst energy, or is it beta energy? One of the two. And you can perform a more powerful version of it, so you have options throughout. I suppose the final thing I'll say is that I am in no way good at this game's combat, only passable, and that was still enough. Also, there's a drone gun.
Many thanks to the administrator. You are the best administrator.
Yeah.
Administrator of the month.
That's me.
Do you even know what the administrator of the month means?
I'm questioning you.
Administrator of the month is administrator of the month.
Yeah, see? Promote that drone.
Administrator of the month. Hello.
They call you administrator of the month,
Functions.
even afterwards. Yes. Even the side quest stuff. As administrator of the month, we head to the Altesse Lavoie, a future-y underground place that reminds you that you know nothing about anything in this world. It's a shooter section, and there are 2 of these in the game during the main story, and it's really fun, but it also has a puzzle platforming thingy. I know I moan about dungeons, but as dungeons go, this game makes them quite fun. I quite enjoy the Altesse thingies. Not the Altesse thingies, Lavoie, that's it, Altesse and Abyss Lavoie. I remember, it makes use of its dimensions in combat and gives you a new challenge. So in robbing you of your blade, it incentivizes you to try out something you may have neglected, which is the shooty gun. There was a war. Before the war, there was another war, and humans created androids, which killed them. So it's kind of like Nier, but kind of not, but kind of is. Natives killed the androids, humans escaped to the colony in space, and at this point my theory about us being androids feels strong. But biomechanics have come a long way, so it's sort of a moot point for me at the time, metaphysically speaking. In the end, it does turn out we're androids.
Great. Success.
Great success! By putting the hyper thingy and the hyper fangy, we've brought Zion back to life just a little bit more. And the world is evolving as a direct result of our actions, so a connection is further being built. And I remember thinking it'd be really sad when it eventually burns down later. It did and all. The Great Desert is like the sequel to the Wasteland, but with far fewer quests and surprisingly more bare bones. You might think it was going to be bigger, but meh. More story stuff takes place here though, so it may not be a case of dropped ideas and plans. It's similar in function and form to the Wasteland, but it has a lovely tropical tree aesthetic at one point, and actual water. This is where you fish, and the place where you fish and have good vibes, next to like the beach house and stuff, there's a dead body in the water. I never forget that it's there. Kind of brings me down. This is also the part where I get to say that I love the desert. Again, that said, things are far more spaced out in this area, spaced apart as well. So be prepared to run even more than you already have. And again, by this point, if you've been doing the side quests, you'd be like Lukey Boy, and you have about 28 done out of 35, so there will be less running back and forth or trying to track specific quests. Also, if you can't find out how to get a thing in a quest, don't be afraid to shoot things to see what happens to the environment. If you see a barrel next to a bus, for instance, shoot it. That's all I'll say. The Wasteland from before represents an experience close to a sandbox game, I think, whereas the Great Desert feels far more traditionally open world, and the stuff around it is linear. Neither are better or worse, it's just different. But it does hit on a unique phenomenon that I've observed with Stellarblade that's likely a result of it being the first of its kind in the series. It seems to want to be a lot of different things, and much like the Nier series, this is virtually the root of everything good and also everything annoying about it. Ambition's funny like that. All that being said, I'm glad it went balls to the wall and went for it. I much prefer a game that overextends itself and occasionally feels a little disharmonious with its own elements as opposed to another corporate slot fest that doesn't push the boundaries or try anything particularly unique or new. By this point, I developed a flow with the game and was already kind of upset that I was probably over halfway through. But the New Game Plus is always around to alleviate those pains, so run around, explore, soak up the vibes. Matrix 11 is a long dungeon section, but I'm really fond of it. You start in the dingy subways and ascend to the top of the desert, lots of curveballs along the way, some banter, and one moment in particular where the game rewards you for stopping and taking it all in. The music in this area is calm too, but otherworldly, adding to that ambience that's been building. The wind makes it feel alive, and the importance of downtime is communicated, again, but during the main story this time, in the middle of a very long and combat heavy section. It's great game design again. Sure, this game has many of the things that most modern games have. I mentioned the yellow paint. There's even a guy in your ear telling you the obvious stuff that you would have figured out anyway. While the story remains a mystery, with the colony in space, the mysterious mother sphere, Earth's destruction with the Natibas, it seems like this one reminds you of the apocalyptic setting. It really is like Nier, in that it's not afraid to take a moment and let itself breathe, often with really pretty music and likable characters. And yes, Eve is very likable. She's not complex. Neither is Lily. Adam is, but we'll find that out later. But I like them all, and they're a pleasure to be around, and they have good chemistry, the three of them. Everything I heard about this story and these characters being boring was, indeed, a crock of shit. Remember Taki from the intro? She didn't die, but she was turned into an alpha Natiba. Combat is getting easier now, and I don't know if it's my improved stats or me being slightly less crap at the game, but I welcome it. After we beat her, she comes to her senses. Just in time to die, unfortunately. But it's odd to me. Taki is a good example of this, Raven later as well. A character that only gets approximately 5 minutes of screen time, maybe a little more in Raven's case, leaves a really big impression. I think a sequel could really flesh things out better with certain characters. And again, I forgive it because it's their first one of this kind, and it just makes me excited for it. In fact, Shift Up are ditching the censorious Sony for the second game, so here's having a lot more freedom for them. Also, that Mother Sphere thing that people worship is an AI that humans made, and it wants humans dead. Yippee. And welcome to the intermission with the question of the day. Why do certain people on social media hate Eve from Stellar Blade? Let's take a look. Incredibly pretty, traditionally feminine, a caring woman, a strong woman, but she doesn't hate men, and finally, not a tattoo on her. You know, I just can't figure out why certain people hate her. I just can't figure it out. Tune in next time.
As the adage says, you give a poor man a fish and you feed him for a day. You teach him to fish, you give him
If you're wondering if what you're seeing on screen is as fun as it looks, I assure you, yes, it is. Abyss Lavoir is another shooty gun dungeon crawl, and the music is a low-pass EDM track. It's gorgeous and fun. Ravenlore update. Andrea Eidos are the new human race, and they forced the real humankind underground. And essentially, the real humans did genetic engineering on themselves and became monsters, the Natiba. Reminds me of a certain something out of Nier. That means we're Andrea Eidos, created by the Mother Sphere AI. So we're not just superhuman and biomechanical futuristic thingies, we are literally androids. Lily will pull you aside before the point of no return, if you filled her hidden infinity meter, for a secret mission which also unlocks the best and third ending later, but the internet's finicky on the requirements for maxing her out. Doing lots of things is basically what it adds up to, and we did 28 of the 35 side quests, got over 20 cans, and many other things too, and we managed to unlock it. Hold her secret garden in Eidos 9. Lily's a great character, so giving her some development was really a nice thing. The area takes about an hour of intense combat, but the song is kino, and there's a super fun happy slide. Lily's Atelier.
I think I have a really great idea. You could leave the drone operation to me. Adam can take the hoverbike back to Zion while I operate. A perfect plan, right?
Lily, not just anyone is able to operate drones. You need a wide field of view, the ability to make smart decisions fast,
And the stabilizer, scanner, and link sensors do all the work for you.
How did you...
I figured it all out while modifying the railgun. Went for some test drives too.
Another great scene is just us exploring the atelier with the beautiful music. This game's loudest moments are its most quiet ones. Lily's friend Iberis is the world's greatest hacker and in a long sleep, and will probably turn up in the next game. We obtain her hacking system, and I obtain the knowledge that everyone who ever called this game soulless doesn't actually possess a soul themselves, because if they did, this would move them. Everything this game does is pretty. Also, Lily would unironically make a great Atelier protagonist. Atelier Lily. Finale time. Look how pretty this place is. The rest of it is a nexus of huge areas, and basically a 3-hour dungeon. So it's going to take you a while. It's a drag in places, but eventually you ascend so high that you can see everything down below, which provides a really good sense of scale and feels very rewarding. This is Arisa, the maid, welcoming us to the VIP lounge of the space station? Yeah, 2/3 of the way through a mega dungeon and they hit us with this. Very creative. Well, that sucks. This game has a lot of characters with very little screen time, who are very likable and iconic. I wouldn't be surprised if there are Tumblr or Twitter accounts dedicated to this one. Eventually we make it into space, and it hits me how many iconic moments are in this game. The music's adventurous and triumphant, the scene looks perfect, and it's a great illustration of how, even with a shorter story, it can leave a great impression. The complaint I saw with this game once was that its story should be longer, as I've said, but again, I play JRPGs that are 50 to 100 hours long, and that's about 48 to 98 hours of padding. I much prefer this. And that's the perk of being an android, you can breathe and talk in space, and this sequence is one of the coolest ever. Now I know why the cover of the game looks like it does. All that time we spent helping the people of this place and some bloody bastard blows it up. I mean, it's cool to see it at night, but still, it was this Alpha Natiba, who's also the hardest boss of the game so far. Insta-kill moves that you gotta shoot with your drone. Also it's Raven, actually. She's jealous of us because Adam likes us more. And also Orkul is an Alpha Natiba. The first one ever, apparently. He's like Parthenax from Skyrim, but without the lovely voice. We gotta take the Master Core, which I call the Master Ball, to the Elder Natiba. Pretty obvious who that is at this point. Everyone and their mum is a Natiba of some sort. Feel kind of left out. And this scene is one of my favourites. Everyone from Zion comes to see us off. These are lovable weirdos. Are the people we've done quests for, gotten to know, and helped rebuild their town for them. These kind of moments stick with you. Seeing all the nice faces you met along the way in one place, coming to see you off and say thanks to you. And the more you actually engage with the side missions, the nicer it'll be. It's a better reward than any other generic reward that a game might give you. They give you a memory instead. Digger, Kaya, Sue and Enya, Roxanne, the old dude with the beard. This is a very special game. And I'll miss these characters, and I hope they're in the sequel. Raven's final message reveals that we're all just pawns, and the supposed Mother Sphere is responsible for everything crappy, like the apocalypse and us being androids. Anyway, Raven. Raven is the hardest boss fight in the game, especially if you're like me and you're not very good at that game. It'll take a while and you'll have to study her, but beating her is its own reward. And yeah, it still hurts.
I got skated. I dropped my hot pocket.
It's the skill check fight. Maybe you lean on certain habits and just wanked yourself off with Tachy mode for the past 20 hours. Well, not anymore. Have fun getting your ass kicked. Fighting Raven is an existential experience. She's angry, as stated, because we stole Adam from her. And upon learning the truth of the world, she started to go crazy, and then Adam took advantage of that. And he really used her. We don't know this yet, but I might as well mention it. Not very relatable though. It's like a bunch of 10s arguing over relationships, and it's like, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But instead of killing Raven, Eve cuts off her arms and renders her an armless mess. We just leave her though, don't worry, she's armless. At least until she turns up in the sequel with 4 arms instead, like Dr. Octagonopus.
Your mainframe's nerve fibers and exospine have all been severed.
What? What do you think you're doing? Eve! Stop right there! Finish this! Eve! Eve!
Don't fucking run away from me! I'll end you! Where'd you fucking go? You son of a bitch!
3 endings. The really depressing one, where Lily dies, a slightly better one, and then the secret one that you get for maxing out Lily's invisible affinity meter, which apparently has been confirmed canon. That's the one we get. Adam's an angel-looking Natiba thingy. The Elder Natiba, he's the source of it all. That Raphael Marx guy who was popping up in all the little data sticks. He created literally pretty much all of this stuff. And he's also responsible for the doom of the human race, because he created Mother Sphere. Everyone's a Natiba except Lily and Eve these days, I guess. Adam says Adam and Eve are what's needed, and the Adam and Eve names were never subtle, but he wants to become one with her. Fusing together, they can become the seeds of a new human race. Adam and Even. I trust Adam for some reason, so we take his hand. Yeah, take that, Raven. Now we get to levitate with Chad and become this Lily's exosuit attacks us automatically, so we have to fight Providence, whereas you'd have to fight Adam otherwise, which has the most intense final boss theme I've ever heard. Well, for a while. And then Iberis's code helps us out, and we go full Adam and Eve mode and become an angel thingy with cool moves. And surprisingly, Mother Sphere is a tiny anime girl. I guess Adam decided to make her like this. Don't know what that says about him. She's very cryptic, saying the Eve protocol is concluded, and then the game ends as we're battling a bunch of Eve clones that she sent to destroy us. Likely because we said screw her stupid plan, her endless plans, they always end in bloodshed, and now we've fused with Adam to finally free the world of Naytiba. What a weird ending. This midget has a lot to answer for, but it's just an AI created by Adam, real name Raphael Marx, as we said, which was foreshadowed loads in the game. So either way, that's some good sequel bait. And furthermore, I'm interested in Eve, still seeming more like Eve than Adam despite fusing with him. The idea seems to be that his consciousness fuses with her, so she's getting the better end of the deal, so Adam's not around physically, but gets to live inside of Eve. To be fair though, the way Adam discarded Raven when Eve came along and chose Eve instead, is really shitty, so I can't say I feel all that bad for him. Poor girl went crazy because she got pumped and dumped. In the epilogue, Eve defeats the wannabes, and Lily restores power to Zion, saving it. Happy ending, kinda. And that's Stellar Blade. Very weird, very fun, and New Game Plus has loads of stuff, so knock yourself out. Brilliant game. Stellar Blade is the most enjoyable and soulful gaming experience I've had since Scarlet Nexus in 2022 and Nier Automata before it, and then Skyrim and Final Fantasy XIV. Dragon Godfrey as well. To even be mentioned among those games is something I didn't think would ever happen for me again. It's loud and subtle, it's pretty, it's ugly, it's a genuine kino game, and it's a legit shame that such a brilliant game was reduced to a socio-political squabble on social media for so many, but the NPCs are going to NPC, innit? Unless your game has the philosophical firepower of a Yoko Taro game. No matter how much it's inspired by it, this is the reality of what you're up against. This is the risk you run when you go full coon bait with your game. With the costumes. It'll always be overlooked for that reason by a great many people, and whatever, innit? But conversely, it'll also attract the old school gaming demographic who play things that look fun, and that's it. And I assure you, it is stupidly fun. And hard. Very hard. Maybe that's not the best word to use. It has genuine flaws, like all games do, but for a first venture into the big single-player console game market, Shift Up could have done a lot worse, especially when you place it next to the soulless crap that many prop up in the modern day because it makes them feel like elitists or has them talk about their stupid politics or whatever. The haters made it famous, but the soul made it beautiful. It's charming, has endless amounts of soul, likable characters, beautiful world to explore, fun flashy combat to beat things up as you go, and a one-of-a-kind soundtrack that's on par with Nier Automata. Administrator of the month. Also, give us a playable Raven in the next game and make her one of the good guys. Ravens are really cool. Okay, bye. Try not to die.